A lot of people in the United States undermine the importance of being registered to vote. Some even argue that it is not important because it will not do any good. People who do not like voting Democratic or Republican have the choice of voting for a third party, like the Libertarian and Green parties, and if they do not like any candidate on the ballot, they can also write in somebody's name. Originally, people had to be present at their polling place on Election Day. In the mid-19th century, absentee ballots were created for those who would not be available to vote on Election Day, and this became more common in the 1990s. All 50 states and the capital now have some method of voting earlier. When America first became its own nation, only white men with property were allowed to vote. On August 18, 1920, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was passed, granting women the right to vote, and on August 6, 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act into law, granting African Americans the right to vote, and it was extended to all minorities in 1975. Every American citizen who is 18 or older is currently allowed to register to vote, and they do not have to be present on Election Day to do so. Voter registration forms can be filled out online and on paper. The National Voter Registration Act of 1993 mandates that voter registration forms are offered at state and local offices. Colleges also offer them to their students. It is the responsibility of every American citizen 18 years or older to vote because that is the only way for them to have their voices heard. Considering that voting is free and doable, regardless of circumstances, it should be in everyone's best interest to cast a vote, even if it is just a write-in. Americans should be responsible for reminding everybody to vote and changing the minds of those who think voting is not important and that not voting is okay. In some past presidential elections, the candidate who won the popular vote did not win the election because they did not receive enough votes from the Electoral College. This may sound discouraging to some potential voters, but this will be less likely to happen if every American citizen registered to vote and voted.
It's very important to get out and vote. Definitely, it's your right to vote, pretty much from the beginning of American history. Well, throughout most of human history, living and working under certain governments, they're not allowed to vote, and they're always pushing for that right. So once you have the right to vote, you should be using that right. Because a lot of people have, worked hard to guarantee that we have the right to have our voice heard politically. After politicians have gone into office, you can protest or you can, petition them. The real voice you have is on Election Day when you're using your ballot. There's all sorts of other elections, Senate elections and House elections and mayoral elections and governor's races, and a lot of people say, oh, I only vote for president. You should be voting for the local people more because they impact your life on a day-to-day basis. They're the people from your community who are going to decide if potholes are going to be filled and if your roads are going to be plowed. You're not voting for these people to have a beer with them. You're not voting to hang out with them. You're voting to put somebody into a position, to hire them for a job. If someone that you want on the ballot's not on the ballot, you want to write them in, that's great. The problem is there's no guarantee that other people are writing them in. More people have the right to vote, more people are educated about voting, more people are aware of political issues, and more people now than before, historically speaking, have access to media outlets that can inform them, Of course, that could always be a problem because of what kind of media are we watching and reading and listening to. Voting times have been expanded. There's early voting. People can do absentee ballots if they need to be if they're away. There's all sorts of ways to have your vote cast. You just have to know how to do it. You have to make people believe that it matters and that they need to do it and that it's part of their civic duty. It's a civic duty on some level.